Test, test, test for Frank. Mic check, 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 check. Mic check, 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 check.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Hi, it's Joanna Topping. I'm just checking in. I'm outside counsel. Joanna Topping, Topping. From Abrams Bensterman. I'm outside counsel on the asbestos settlements that are calendared for today. Okay, great. Okay. I'll just, okay. Hi, yes, it's Abrams Bensterman. We're located in, well, we have two offices, one in Nassau County and one in White Plains. Which address would you like? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Hey, Kev, how you been? Okay, things good with you? All right, all right. You been had a happy New Year? Yeah, yeah. Keeping our fingers crossed every day. You know, can't wait, can't wait. All right, as long as things have been okay. All right, buddy. All right, thank you. You got it. All right.
Hello? Anyone hear me? Thank you. Good.
like to invite the legislators to the chambers so that we can get started.
Hi, I'm here.
Hey, Kevin, I'm here.
I'm on, Ellen.
Bill Gaylor.
All right, I'd like to call the Rules Committee to order. Ask Legislator Schaefer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, Mike, can you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Rules Committee roll call. Legislator Sheila Bino. Ms. Bino? Legislator Delia DeRiggi Whitten. Ranking Member Kavan Abrahams.
Here.
Thank you. Legislator Laura Schaefer. Legislator Stephen Rhodes. Vice Chairman Howard Coppell.
Here?
Thank you. Legislator Sheila Bino again. Okay, and Chairman Richard Nicolello.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, as we always do, we're starting off with the contracts, which we will call all at once. Get started. B1, B3, B4, B5, B6, 2021. These are resolutions authorizing the county executive to award and execute contracts between the county and 192 Branch Interior Services, Inc., Palace Electrical Contractors, RJ Industries, Polaris Electrical Construction Corp., Eldor Contracting Corp. E146, a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute a use and occupancy agreement between the county and Smith and Drake Real Estate. E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8, E10, E11, E12, E13, and U1 of 2021. These are resolutions authorizing the county executive to execute personal services agreements or amendments to personal services agreements between the county and Hazen and Sawyer, Wildlife in Need of Rescue, Public Safety Communications Officials, C&R Automotive, Campanelli and Associates, Helenet Aviation Services, Contemporary Computer Services, IIT Inc., Greenman Peterson Inc., Mason Tillman Associates, Precise Court Reporting, Top Key Court Reporting, and Sheehan Company CPA PC. Motion to put those before us by Legislator DeRiggi Whitten, seconded by Legislator Rhodes. Before we start going into that, I need a motion to untable A50 of 2020, which is a resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Shared Services to award and execute a blanket purchase order between the county and Hink Electrical Contracting. Motion by Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator DeRiggi Whitten. And lastly, I need a motion to suspend the rules, moved by Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator DeRiggi Whitten. As to the motion to suspend the rules, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the rules are suspended. I know I didn't take a motion to untable that item, so I'm also going to have a vote on that. We had a motion and second. And on the motion to untable A50 of 2020, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, carries unanimously. And lastly, I'm going to call E171 of 2020, a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute a personal services agreement between the county and PFM Financial Advisors. We need a motion for that one by Legislator DeRiggi Whitten, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. So now all those items are before us, and then we'll start off. Actually, we're going to start off with a couple of other contracts before we get to Public Works, Ken. Public Administrator. So we're going to start off with U1 of 2021. It's a contract with Sheehan and Company CPA. So we would do that first because it's a small contract. It's a standalone contract. All right. It doesn't look like the Public Administrator is here now. So let's go to the next contract, which is going to be untabled. Just for the record, Legislator Bino is here.
This is a serious annoyance that I can't actually use the big
So
monitor.
with respect to E-171 of 2020, it was called, but we're going to need to table that matter. So motion to table by Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator Bino. All in favor of tabling E-171 of 2020, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. There's one other motion, contractor on table. That's E2 of 2021 related to wildlife in need of rescue. The IJ is still investigating that, so we need a motion to table that one as well. Motion by Legislator DeRidge-Whitten, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. All in favor of tabling, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that's tabled as well. And now we will do Public Works contract. Have a look, Ken, take a look at the screen. I didn't know that you were so famous, so I figured we'd put that up there. All right, so go ahead, Road Warrior.
Yep. So I'll start with B1. B1 is a requirements contract for asbestos and lead remediation services. The contract is a 4 years, and it has a cap of $2 million. We received 2 bids, and Branch was the lowest responsible bidder. They will self-perform all the work, and they are an MBE firm.
I'm sorry, is there any debate or discussion as to 192? Let's say that, Schaefer.
Hi, Commissioner. Just wondering, what issues are they going to address? Like what particular buildings or are there?
So we have Branch. We have two contractors that work on our asbestos and lead issues. We have Broderick, which is our consulting services contract, and then we have Branch, who does the actual remediation of lead or asbestos. So as my facilities people or any other contractor runs across these types of issues, we typically look to use these contracts instead of issuing change orders in other contracts to address these issues. So example, if there's a lead issue at a building, we would bring Broderick in to do a consultant services, and then we'd hire Branch under a work order to remediate the situation.
Are there any that you're particularly looking to have addressed now? Buildings or issues?
For asbestos, things come up all the time. Good examples, police headquarters is an asbestos building, so anytime my guys do work there, we usually have to have the contractor come in first and remediate any asbestos that's on any of the hot water piping or steam piping, and then my staff will go in and do the work that's required. Same thing with lead. If we have an issue with a housing unit that has to be remediated, we'll take care of that using this contract.
Okay.
Any other questions? Let's go on to the next one.
Okay, the next item is B3. B3 is an electrical contract associated with HVAC and fire alarm upgrades at the Police Highway Patrol facility in Belmore. Palace was the only bidder for the work. The bid was significantly below our engineer's estimate, and they're proposing 1% MBE on the project.
I think the backup says the bids were opened in December 2019, and it's getting presented to us now. What was the delay on this?
We had some issues getting all the package together with Palace. They had some things we had to straighten out with them, and also we had to work out our financing plan on our cash flow. So we were looking to get that project set up for the right timing for that.
I guess the other question we had was, there's only one vendor submitted a bid for this?
Yes.
Well, why do you think that is? I mean,
Well, we believe this is the electrical component of this job. There's also an HVAC contractor, and when we don't go Wick's Law, which is with Wick's Law, when these contracts have to work together, sometimes we don't get a lot of bids on these smaller jobs. We typically look to do PLAs, which eliminates that issue, but this job did not qualify for a PLA.
anyone else have any questions? B4?
Okay, so B4 is a construction contract to upgrade the sludge dewatering facility at the Glen Cove plant. 7 bids were received, and RJ Industries was the lowest responsible bidder. The bid was below the engineer's estimate, and MWBE is at 20% for this project.
Questions? And this is a sizable contract. Is there a specific budget for the Glen Cove facility?
A budget, well, we have a total cash flow set up for all of SSW, and Glen Cove is part of that work as we look to how much we can spend per year.
Okay. Do we know, in terms of over the long term, how much has been spent at the Glen Cove sewage treatment plant?
I went back and looked at that. Since 2014, so everything we have planned in our queue right now, we're looking at about $30 million at the treatment plant.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Hi, Commissioner. I know you said, it sounded like you said this was part of a package, you know, or that it's funding that's going to be coming out of a larger amount of funding. Do you know how much specifically you will be allotting to the Glen Cove Sewage Treatment Facility when this passes?
I don't have those numbers in front of me. I know when the question was asked and I emailed Chris Estuni, I looked at what I had spent and what I'm planning to spend currently, and that's the $30 million.
Right. That's right.
I think we had 2 or 3 larger projects that we completed, so it's probably $15 million moving forward right now that I have laid out in the next couple of years.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Sure. Legislator Bynum.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Good afternoon, Commissioner Arnold. So you said it's lower than the engineer's estimate, and am I accurate to say that it's about 1.6 million or 1.5 million less than the engineer's estimate?
Yes, the engineer's estimate was 7.8 million. This came in at 6.2.
Okay, so it's kind of a significant difference. Are we comfortable that this entity will be able to do this work at this price point?
Yes, we had our design consultant, H2M, do that analysis, and they've assured us that they can do the work for the price that was proposed.
Okay, because it seems significant to me.
Yes, I share your concerns, and that's why we have our design consultants always go back and sit with the contractors and make sure that there's no unexpected issues that are going to come up, that they're going to try to get me through change orders or something to that effect. So we do have that conversation.
That's exactly what I would be looking at.
Yep.
Changes in the change order requests that come in that get us at the 1.5 or above. So as long as you're keenly watching this, I hope that we don't encounter that. All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, let's move on to the next one.
Okay, so the next contract is B5. This is a construction contract for the installation of an emergency generator for the police academy. The original design had a much smaller generator just for life services items like the elevators, but as the job was completed, PD wanted total backup power at the plant. The department analyzed issuing a change order versus bidding a separate contract, and it was determined that we had appropriate time to bid a separate contract, and we also felt that we'd get better value for bidding a separate contract. So that's what we did here. We had 11 bids were received. Polaris was selected as the lowest responsible bidder, and they're looking at 13% for the MWBE.
Any questions? No? All right, next one.
Okay. Next one, B6, is a construction contract to install SCADA, or Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System, at both Glen Cove and Cedar Creek sewage treatment plants. We do propose to do this at Bay Park and our pump stations also, but those are separate contracts. SCADA will allow for the automation of the wastewater processes, enabling operators to control processes more efficiently and be able to respond to emergencies more quickly. Finally, the system will provide better security of the equipment and increase equipment resiliency. 6 bids were received. 1 bid was not opened because the bid bond was incorrectly put together. Eldor is the lowest responsible bidder, and below the engineer's estimate. The MWBE is at 30%.
Good. Any questions on this one? Nope. All right, let's go to the next one.
Next one's E1.
Yep.
E1 is a design contract for Cedar Creek digesters. 4 consultants submitted proposals. Hazen and Sawyer had the highest technically ranked and lowest cost proposal. The MWB is at 21%.
Any questions? Okay, Ken?
Okay, next one's E10. E10 is a design contract to rehabilitate and modernize traffic signal equipment. This project, called Phase 9, is for 16 signals on Long Beach Road and Oceanside. 4 bids were received. GPI had the highest technically ranked proposal. The MWB is at 13%. I will note that this was done a while back. We had held on this job because this is being TIP funded, and we wanted to make sure it fit within our TIP program. That's why it didn't present to you as soon as you would anticipate.
Okay. Any legislative shape?
Yeah, quick question. Why were they ranked so high?
GPI has a lot of experience in this area. They're one of the best consultants in putting together the ITS, which is the computer aspect and the signal equipment aspect together, and giving us an efficient project.
Good. Have we used them before in other parts of the county?
Yes, they're they do a lot of our work.
Okay.
Not all of our work, but a lot of our work.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All right, let's go on to the next one.
Is that A50?
I think that's Hink, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So A50 is our bridge repair services contract. This contract was previously tabled because of language in it about operators. We have removed that language from the contract, so this is now strictly a maintenance and repair contract on the 2 Basco bridges or drawbridges we have in the county.
Okay. Yes, thank you for removing that. I think it was an issue with the CSEA.
Yeah, we had a long conversation with them. And
Good, appreciate that. Anyone else, any discussion? Legislator DeReggie Whitten?
Hi, Ken. I have to say, I can't imagine looking half as good as you did with the picture that's close up. In fact, I wouldn't even want to imagine it. But anyway, do you know when the work might be started in Bayville? I know they're always worried about the summer.
The Bayville Bridge project, we issued a limited notice to proceed to have the contractor to start ordering long lead time equipment. And I'm working right now with my staff to get me the schedule for closures, depending if we issue a full notice proceed at what point this summer. Because I want to make sure I optimize the closure periods that I'm allowed.
Right.
So once I have that conversation with them, we'll be issuing a full notice to proceed for June, July, August, depending in that time frame, depending on when we maximize all our closure periods. As you're aware of, we have a lot of things we can do and can't do during certain times of the year.
Right. And how long do you think the bridge will be able to be opened and shut? Like, do you have any idea?
It's a very detailed plan. We met with the community and took their issues at hand. And there's limited full closures of the bridge. I believe we're doing it twice for a month. Mm-hmm. And there's also now limited lane reductions of the bridge. And it's all also programmed not to happen during certain times of the year, because there are different things that go on up in that community. So we've limited to the maximum extent practical that we can do. Plus, we have longer work periods for the contractor in condensing all this work.
Okay. Thank you, Ken.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. I think that's the last Public Works contract.
Yeah, the only one I had, WSP was not going to be on table today? Shared services, shared mobility?
No, it's not. Okay, not ready. All right, the next contract is with Parks E146 2020. It's Smith and Drake Realty Corp.
Good afternoon. Tori Queso with the Department of Parks. So E146 is a use and occupancy permit with Smith and DeGroat working as agents on behalf of Carly and James Hagedorn for the property known as Mill Floor at 1 Beach Road, Sands Point. It is a revenue-producing permit that will provide the county with $108,000 for the year.
That is the Gold Coast mansion on the grounds of the Sands Point Preserve, right?
Yes.
Do you know how did Smith and DeGroat went about securing a tenant for that location? Is it advertised?
As per their permit, they do commercial best practices and seek applications from interested tenants, and then evaluate the tenants based on their credit and income and background checks.
Do the tenants have use of the whole place, or they have a certain area in which to live in the facility? I mean, it literally is probably a 20, 30, 40 room, mansion.
I believe, I can confirm this for you, but I believe it's whole use as a residential use for the property.
And there's an obligation on the tenants to do maintenance or keep the place in good order?
Yes, and they are required to have renter's insurance as well.
Okay. I mean, how do you maintain a facility that big?
You're asking the wrong person. I've always rented apartments, so.
Do we know, in terms of the cost, how do we know that $9,000 a month is fair and accurate to rent for this place?
I believe it is based on fair market values, and I don't know that I printed it out, but I think in the permit there is some information about that. I don't have it in front of me, but I can confirm that.
I mean, obviously, they're not paying taxes. It's a county facility on county land, but I mean, if a mansion like this, do they look at how much it would cost if it was a private facility? How much it would cost just in taxes alone? I'm just trying to get at whether $9,000 a month is a fair rental for someone renting one of the most unique and beautiful spots in the county, on Long Island.
Yeah, I mean, and as per their permit, they're required to have it at a good value for the county and the property. But I believe it's in the packet. If it's not, I will get that information as soon as possible to you.
All right. Legislator Schaefer.
Okay, I'm curious, how old are Carly and James Hagedorn?
How old are they?
Yeah, do you know?
I do not know, no.
Have you ever met them?
Me personally? No, I've never
No?
met them.
No idea? I mean, are they in their 80s? Are they in their 40s?
I believe they're adults.
What's that?
Yeah.
I'm just curious if they have, certain duties that come with, renting it. I understand they're supposed to be sort of providing service. Just curious how that's going to happen based on, their circumstances. So.
Well, I don't believe age is necessarily a consideration for when you're renting apartments, but or properties. But yeah.
Yeah, it's not an apartment.
I understand.
It's a different situation.
They were, their income credit checks, background checks were all done. So.
Right. No, I just think there's a little bit of a different situation because of what they're required to do to maintain it. So that's why I ask. If you could find out, I'd like to know.
Sure. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Did you have something you want to add, or no?
No.
Okay. All righty. I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to go back to the first contract that I called, which was U1 of 2021 with Sheehan and Company, CPA, it's the public administrator.
Yes, how you doing, Chairman? Can you
Good.
hear me? Sorry about that. We had technical difficulties.
All right. Just have to state your name for the record, Brian.
Brian F. Curran, Nassau County Public Administrator.
And let us know what's the contract about.
It's a annual request to the legislature for a personal service contract for $10,000 for accounting internal audit of the Public Administrator's Office that's required under the Surrogates Court Act, and we're required to submit it every year.
Okay. The maximum amount is $10,000?
Yes, it is.
Any questions? No? All right. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Okay. Next three contracts are with the police department. E3 of 2021 with APCO International, Inc.
Good Good afternoon. William Field, Deputy Inspector, Nassau County Police Department. The first contract is item E321 with APCO International. This contract is for conducting and preparing a review and also providing recommendations to the police department involving our 911 dispatching operations, as well as reviewing our in-service training. The terms of the contract is for 1 year. It has a maximum amount of $57,900. This training is also required by law.
Any questions? Let's go on to the next one.
Item E421. This is a contract between the police department and CR Automotive Incorporated. This is an amendment to an existing contract to provide the police department with towing and storage services for vehicles. It's necessary to have these services available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The purpose of this amendment is to renew and extend the term of the contract by 1 year and 6 months and encumber an additional funds of $49,000. The contractor was originally determined to be the highest scored proposer, and we are in the process of issuing a new bid to secure services going forward.
Any questions? Okay, let's go to E6.
Item E621 is a contract between the police department and HellNet Aviation Services. This is an amendment to a contract for the design and installation of an airborne video surveillance system for the Nassau County Police Department's aviation unit. The amendment is to extend the term of the original contract so the contractor can complete the relocation of an antenna from the 6th Precinct to the North Shore University Hospital location. The 6th Precinct antenna was contemplated under the original agreement, but there were issues that needed to be worked out before they could do the build. Those issues appear to have been resolved. No work has been done on this part of the project yet.
How does the antenna figure into the airborne video surveillance system?
I'm not an expert on the technological part, but my understanding is that it does actually it assists in the ability of distributing the downlink. So this the camera views from the helicopter are then able to be properly distributed to the people on the ground. Is that answer the question?
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. I mean, first we thought it was drones or something like that, but it's
no, sir. This is related to the downlink program that can actually view from the helicopter, and then it can distribute that feed, I guess, to the people on the ground.
And the need to move it from the 6th Precinct to the hospital is what, because of the height of the hospital? Is it?
I'm not really sure of the technical need. I believe it's going to the height of the top of the hospital, so, but I can find out the technical reason.
All right. I mean, the 6th Precinct is at a very low point, so
Correct.
it's possible that. Legislator Schaefer?
Sure, one quick question. I thought I saw that the county has to pay a certain amount, like maybe it's about 1/3 of the cost, the total cost to them before the services are rendered. Is that correct?
Not sure. I could find out for you, but I'm not sure the money would be paid up front. I'm not aware.
Okay.
I'll definitely find out.
I'm just curious as to, that's not always the way it's done, so I'm just wondering why we're paying them something up front, what the history's like in paying them.
I understand.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, thank you, Inspector.
Thank you.
County Attorney is the next one with Campanelli and Associates, E5 of 2021.
Good afternoon, legislators. Brian Libbert from the County Attorney's Office. This is a contract with Campanelli and Associates for the county's vehicle forfeiture program. This is the DWI forfeiture program, as typically limited to misdemeanors and lower offenses. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
All right. Are there any questions on this contract? Legislator Rhodes and then Legislator DeRidge-Whitney.
Mr. Liebert, just wanted to confirm that this is completely unrelated to the boot and tow program, right?
Sorry, I didn't hear which program.
I just wanted to confirm that this is completely unrelated to the boot and tow program. That's a separate item.
That's correct. That's correct. Boot and tow is a totally separate thing, 100%.
Thank you.
Let's say Reggie Whitten.
Hi, I was just wondering if you could go over the procurement process for this contract?
Absolutely. Do you want me to go through it, or did you have specific questions?
If you could just give us an overview of how you...
Sure, absolutely. So, Mr. Campanelli, Andrew Campanelli's office, is the incumbent vendor. They've been providing these services to the county for quite a number of years. We did issue a public RFP pursuant to the ordinary procurement process. It was advertised publicly on the county website, in Newsday, on the state contract reporter, and proof of each advertisement was provided to the IG's office. Also, the RFP was sent specifically to a few vendors that the county attorney's office identified as being qualified. And in fact, Campanelli was the only vendor who responded as being interested. So Campanelli was selected relative to that procurement process. Again, however, they were the only law firm that responded.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just thought that might be a little strange that we only got one response to this type of work. But now they're currently doing the county's DWI forfeiture plan also?
I mean, I don't know that it's an also legislator, only because that this is the program. This contract is for that program.
Right, but they're currently doing it. That's correct.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to ensure that the word was out there, because I just wanted to make sure, since we're giving it to the same company again and no one else bidded. Just wanted to have you put that on the record. So thank you.
No, I understand, and just to provide you some peace of mind, legislator, I do work on this program myself a little bit, and it is a niche area of law. It's very specific, and there are some very particular deadlines. So that might be a reason that there weren't bidders also, but certainly my notes indicate that it was very publicly available, just to your concern.
Okay, thank you for your explanation.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next two contracts are with Information Technology, E7 2021, Contemporary Computer Services.
Good afternoon, Nancy Stanton, IT, E721, Contemporary Computer Services. This amendment is to increase funds by $200,000. We are also asking to extend this contract until April 4th. We currently use this vendor to support HR and the user community on PeopleSoft.
Any questions on this contract? No. Want to go to the next one, please?
E821, Nancy Stanton, IIT, Inc. This contract is for supplemental staffing services. Contract term is 3 years with 2 one-year renewals for a total of 5 years. We are encumbering $100,000 at this time, and again, we use this for supplemental staffing.
Okay, I believe that this is one of 9 vendors.
Correct.
And the maximum amount is $5 million.
Correct.
And we've been asking for a while, but and it seems like every meeting there's a supplemental staffing for IT before us. I mean, is there anyone working there anymore? Is it simply everyone's being contracted out?
Oh no, we have lots of people working on lots of projects. These primarily supplemental staffing is used now for PeopleSoft. I did send over a write-up on it. I'm not sure if it got to you yet. We have 7 full-time people working on PeopleSoft and 1 part-timer. We have 1 consultant working on a PD Motorola project. We have 2 consultants working also from IIT on PeopleSoft. And again, CCSI, that contract will be gone after we extend this. And Lero, we have working on a GIS project.
I did not have an opportunity to, I saw that they come over this morning. But I think we'll take a look at that, and I think ultimately what we're looking for, and I think we've been looking for this for a while, is the overall plan in terms of perhaps drawing down to some extent the need for supplemental staffing and employing
Yeah,
more.
I mean, I agree, and I would love to get the supplemental replaced. We did put out an RFP for recruitment services, which I work with civil service on, and hopefully they'll be able to provide us some of these PeopleSoft resources that we can hire full-time. You'll be seeing that, those contracts coming through very soon.
Okay, I mean, it would seem like an area that there should be many people who would be very interested in serving the IT field, so.
Yeah, the PeopleSoft, it's very hard to get PeopleSoft people, very hard.
What does that mean, people familiar with that particular
Developers,
software?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, developers on the PeopleSoft product.
Anyone else have any questions? Legislator Bino.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Good day, Commissioner.
Hello.
So I share the sentiments of the Presiding Officer, and you know I've spoken to you directly on this issue before.
Yes.
I'd like to see what kind of hiring you've done over the last 12 months or 2-year, 24-month period.
Okay.
In all aspects of your department.
Absolutely.
I understand that PeopleSoft might be,
Very
a little more of a complex issue for you around hiring.
Yes.
But we do get a large number of supplemental housing. Supplemental. Went back to my other role. Supplemental staffing requests, I think, out of your department more so than any other department.
Right.
So I think that's why we're so concerned.
Sure.
So if you could tell us what you've done over the last 24 months.
I will.
I think that would be helpful.
There are 9 contracts, so I keep coming back for them. That's the issue. But
I know
yes.
every time you get up to the podium, it's like, oh, God, they're going to ask me again.
I
But
know.
I think if you tell us what you did over the last 24 months, we might gain some level of
Listen,
comfort
I would
here.
love to hire CSEA full-time. That's my priority.
Yeah, what you've done in the last 24 months and what you plan to do, over this next year would be helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other debate or discussion? I think we're good, thank you.
Thank you.
E11, contract with Minority Affairs and Mason Tillman Associates.
Hello? Okay. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. Presiding Officer Nicolello.
Hello, Lionel.
Minority
How you
Leader
doing?
Abrams and legislators. I stand before you today, E1121. My name is Lionel Chitty. I'm the Executive Director for the Office of Minority Affairs. Joining me today from my Office of Minority Affairs is Deputy Director Regina Williams and also new Director of Special Projects, Rhonda Mako. We are very excited to have Rhonda on board, as she is a very experienced attorney who is returning to the county, having served on the Comptroller's staff for several years. She has certainly hit the ground running, including assisting with final negotiations on the contract for disparity study and consulting services you are considering today. I also thank Deputy County Attorney Daniel Gregoire and Chief Procurement Officer Robert Cleary for their expertise and collaboration on this contract and for joining us today. Nassau County Executive Laura Curran is committed to transforming county procurement processes to ensure transparency and opportunities for all businesses. The administration has developed a comprehensive strategy to increase participation in county contracting, including elimination of a long-standing vendor registration fee, which was especially detrimental to minority and small businesses who did not think it worthwhile to register, streamlined county procurement systems with new checks in place for OMA review and opportunities, launched numerous programs to promote our minority and women-owned business enterprises and service disabled veteran-owned businesses, led by an active, engaged OMA. The county will now undertake the next critical important step in this effort, conducting a disparity study of MWBE's SDVOBs as part of a unique shared service agreement with Suffolk County. OMA proposes to enter into a personal services agreement with Mason Tillman Associates, Ltd., a highly regarded national expert, to conduct a disparity study and provide consulting services. This contract is scheduled to begin on January 15th. Due to the regional nature of business opportunities on Long Island, and in order to leverage the combined expenditure, Nassau and Suffolk County will share the cost of the consulting services and advance the work collaboratively, while separate contracts provide for each county to secure its own disparity study. The disparity study and consultant services contracted is intended to offer both counties tremendous insight into the categories of goods and services being offered by MWBEs and SDVOBs in the region, identify any significant disparities in MWBE SDVOB participation in the county's contracting, form the basis for meaningful county contracting goals, and improve ongoing efforts to develop MWBE SDVOB capacity and participation. Working jointly with Suffolk and Mason-Tillman, OMA anticipates an active process which will involve multiple county agencies in data collection, review of related county laws, policies and procedures, and a robust regional market analysis. There will be monthly progress reports and deliverables to OMA, with a draft disparity study report expected to be issued to us the first quarter of 2022. We appreciate the legislative support for funding for this important study within the capital budget. The proposed Nassau County contract amount is $499,840, which falls just under the capital budget allocation of $500,000. The contract is for a 2-year term with an opportunity to extend for 1 year. Now let me provide you a little bit of background information on the RFP and the selection of Mason-Tillman. On June 20th, 2019, OMA issued a request for expressions of interest, REFI, in order to solicit input concerning an anticipated request for proposals for a disparity study of MWBE SDVOB utilization and opportunity in Nassau County. Following extensive input from consultants, experts in the field of procurement and capacity building, community stakeholders, and government partners, Nassau County issued its RFP on December 13, 2019. The Suffolk County subsequently joined the effort as a shared services procurement. 5 proposals were received by OMA by the deadline of January 31st, 2020. An RFP evaluation and selection committee was formed, comprised of the following personnel from Nassau County in addition to myself, as well as senior staff from Suffolk: Donald Crosley, Deputy Director, Nassau County Office of Community Development; Farah Mazawala, Executive Director, Nassau County Office of Asian American Affairs; David Vienna, Planner, Nassau County Department of Public Works. In addition to participation by technical advisors from both counties, procurement and legal terms, a representative of the Nassau County Office of the Inspector General also observed the committee meetings. The committee met regularly beginning in February of 2020, rating proposals on categories such as services offered, cost, local subcontract utilization, and experience conducting disparity studies in other regions. First round of proposal evaluations was completed in June, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it became difficult to reach many of the finalist references who were also municipal entities. As such, the final step, we were able to accommodate and get further input from references in order to continue with our process. Following reference checks, final presentations by 2 finalists were conducted this past summer. Among the 2 discussed were among some of the items that were discussed, those topics were language access, outreach and marketing strategy, data collection, methodology, and gauging the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on MWBEs and SDVOBs. The committee concluded that Mason-Tillman and Associates proposal met both county expectations of completeness, quality, cost, and ongoing services. Based in California, Mason-Tillman is a highly regarded expert in the field of disparity studies research. The company has conducted the state of New York's disparity study in 2017. Mason-Tillman will provide services in connection with the comprehensive disparity study to include providing the county with best practices concerning the utilization of MWBEs and SDVOBs, review of county procurement policies, procedures, and legal authorities, review prime, subcontractor availability, utilization and disparity by ethnicity, and gender review. Conduct anecdotal interviews, determine relevant geographic areas, and provide detailed gap analysis. Again, as noted previously, there will be monthly reports as well as a final draft report and recommendations expected by the first quarter of 2022. Mason-Tillman will subcontract with several regional consultants to support their work, including the National Center for Suburban Studies at Hofstra University, the Center for Entrepreneurship, INVT Only Management LLC, McBride Consultants and Business Development Group, and Inspire Enterprises. Included in the Nassau County contract are ongoing support and consulting services in the form of outreach, community forums, webinars, virtual town hall meetings, engagement, and other efforts to increase the overall awareness, participation, capacity, availability, and economic opportunities for MWBEs and SDVOBs. Any questions?
Any questions from the committee? First of all, Lionel, thank you very much for that in-depth and description of this project. Legislator Rhodes?
Yeah, obviously, the vote today is going to have my full support. My understanding, though, Mr. Chitty, is that the money for the disparity study was approved back in the summer of 2019, as I recall.
Correct.
And I understand that COVID may have delayed the awarding, or I guess the selection process and the eventual awarding of the contract, but I guess my question is there a reason why, when the funding for the disparity study, given its importance to MWBE and our ability to fulfill our obligations as a county, COVID didn't happen until March of 2020. What was the reason for the 8 or 9 month delay in getting this process started?
Well, as I mentioned, we had started off with the RFVI expressions of interest, and I actually did participate in that prior to my coming on board as executive director. But once I came in, we got to work. We created the RFP. This office really doesn't do a lot of large RFPs like this. And when we got the RFP out, we waited the standard time. And once we started in February, things were going along smoothly. Again, this is a bi-county process, so we had to make sure that both counties were involved equally, and also making sure that we took a look at any differences as far as county contracting and procurement and any questions that needed to be answered. But again, we were going very well again until COVID hit, and that one challenge we had was getting some references back, because the disparity studies were already mostly done with other municipalities, and being able to reach out to them and get some feedback during the midst of COVID was a challenge. We were able to get past that, and once we were able to get those together, we moved quickly to get this done and select a vendor, and here we stand before you today.
And now, this is a 2-year contract, correct?
Yes, it is, with the option to expand.
Do we have a reasonable expectation at this point that it's going to take 2 years for us to be able to get this disparity study?
That time frame was put together just because of what's been done in the past. It will always be depending on how quickly we can get the information back from our specific departments, so that the vendor can work directly with us in order to make sure that we have the correct information and they can do their calculations. Included in that contract, and why we also have the length, so that we make sure that we have proper transparency, and that we can also have sufficient outreach and consultative processes with the vendor. Again, our goal is not only to have the disparity study completed, but to also have recommendations to make us more efficient and sustainable as we move forward in our county contracting process.
But the vendor certainly understands, and I know your department is certainly aware, and I'm presuming the administration is, that there is some sense of urgency behind this.
Absolutely.
It's been a lengthy period of time since there was a disparity study. It's something we've been looking for a significant period of time, and we funded a significant period of time ago. They do understand, though, that there is an urgency to this. Of course, we don't want to sacrifice accuracy and thoroughness of the report, but we are looking to get results as quickly as possible so that we can evaluate our own processes and be able to implement its recommendations.
Absolutely. Part of what we've initiated in the contract is ongoing services. We're not going to sit and wait until the entire disparity is completed. We're also looking and working directly with the consultant to implement some best practices while we're going through this. Okay. Again, we all understand the importance of this, especially our MWBEs, and we want to make sure it's done expeditiously, but also correctly, make sure we get the proper information, and making sure that they take a total look at all of our processes as far as procurements are concerned, and we can start implementing some best practices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Legislator Bynum.
Good day, Mr. Chitty. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Good, thank you. So what is the timeline? You may have mentioned it, but...
We're looking at to have significant numbers and a final report by first quarter of 2022.
2022?
Correct.
Okay. And so how involved does the county minority affairs department have to be in this process? Is this really going to be vendor initiated, or is it really going to require a lot of work within our own administration?
There will be a lot of work. Again, it'll be myself, Rhonda Mako, and also Deputy Director Regina Williams, because this is not a small task. We're going to be touching basically every agency within the county, anybody who does that procurement process. We're going to start off by sitting with them, going over exactly what's going to be expected as far as getting us the proper information, getting that to the consultant, and working directly with them. Another portion, again, will be those additional services that we know that it will be needed as far as community outreach, consulting directly with us, and putting specific processes in place. So it's going to be three of us working diligently with the consultant, and also hand in hand where possible with Suffolk County, because again, we're looking at this regionally, and we're extremely excited to get this going, and also the fact that we're working with Suffolk County because we're sister counties.
Okay. And normally when we get a contract, it indicates whether the entity is Mason Tillman MWB?
Mason Tillman Associates.
Are they at MWBE?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And so they're going to also be looking at service-disabled veterans
Absolutely.
through this process as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Again, it'll be utilization across the entire board for MWBEs and his service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. I'm sorry.
No problem. And so through this, they just give us a study. Do they give us any kind of suggestions on?
Oh, absolutely.
And they'll give us ideas on what policies and procedures and legislation should potentially be enacted to be able to resolve some of the issues that they see as they undertake the study?
Absolutely. Part of the process will be an entire review of our current procurement policies. And again, it'll be those ongoing services. Again, we're not going to wait until everything's over. We're going to be consulting directly with them for those best practices, because again, we understand that disparity studies hasn't been done in such a long time. We want to make sure that we're getting enough input and be able to put sustainable and practical processes in place so that we can address the needs and increase those numbers for MWBEs once that goal is set.
Good. And I know there are phases that, will there be an ability for them to report out?
Oh, absolutely.
During those phases, even to this body, or
OMA
especially to the OMA committee?
Oh, absolutely. OMA will be receiving monthly reports, and we can periodically report back to the legislature as far as how we're progressing, and bring attention to things that need to be brought attention to. But we're very excited. They did give us a significant process, and there are numerous steps within it, but we will be receiving those monthly reports.
Okay, because I think it would be great if not the full body, at least the OMA committee could be briefed periodically, because as you stated, it's a huge undertaking.
Yes.
And if there's work that we can do in phases, that probably would be helpful for us as well.
We appreciate that.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else like Legislator Rhodes?
Sorry, obviously, as we've been speaking about, the disparity study is incredibly important. But at the end of the day, when these recommendations are made, has there been any indication to you that the administration is going to make the necessary commitment to staffing to make sure that these recommendations can be implemented?
We'll be at that point. We'll again still be working directly with the consultant and with the administration until we're done with the consultant as far as their processes are in place. I've had the commitment of the administration that they'll be taking a look at all these processes and these recommendations, and to make sure that we're constantly reviewing our budget and our staffing needs, and they'll be able to make those adjustments.
Okay, but I guess the question is, and it's really not a question for you, because obviously that it's not your decision to make. I mean, obviously, if you were given additional resources, you would certainly happily take them and bring on some additional staff, I'm sure, to help you do your work. But just looking at, and obviously the disparity study is going to impact our MWBE compliance and our protocols. Just in your office now, I mean, my understanding is that that there are, at your current staffing, every vendor that needs to certify as an MWBE vendor has to be vetted by your office, correct?
Correct. There is that's part of the certification process.
Right. And right now, based on your current staff, at its most productive, how many of those investigations can be conducted on an annual basis?
Well, I'll state this. Last year we did about 100%. Since June of this year, with our MWBE application, we've completed 175 certifications. I'd like to ask Dr. Williams to please step up just to go over that a little bit, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Thank you. Regina Williams, Deputy Director for the Office of Minority Affairs.
How are you, Ms. Williams?
Guy, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
We have one certification analyst who was able to use the NWBE app that we created to handle those certifications for 2020. When we concluded in 2019, we had just a little over 100, about 103. And from June 12th was when we started with the app. We were able to complete the year with 175 certifications.
Oh, so almost double the production.
Yes.
But the question becomes, what's the backlog? Because my understanding is that you have as many as 1,400 MWBE vendors that are still awaiting certification.
Well, technically, there's really not a backlog. Once they register, then they're able to certify with our office. So we're trying to follow protocols that have been established already. For example, New York State, there's like a 2-3 year process now when it comes to their certification. We're running much shorter than that. So currently, we're really handling what we could at this time period. And the issue that we have for the most part is getting the paperwork from our constituents. So we're working along with them to ensure that we have what we need to be able to certify them accordingly.
But in order to get through that process, obviously, and they can't be certified as an MWBE vendor until they actually go through that process.
Absolutely.
You know, if in fact the information is correct that there are 1,400 companies that are going through that process presently, awaiting certification, my concern is that as much as we want to talk about trying to help our MWBEs, and as much as your department is utilizing technology and your staff is doing as much as it possibly can to try and help companies through that process as quickly as possible, based on the numbers I'm hearing, there seems to be a almost 7-year backlog of cases at your current staffing levels before companies can actually get before a company who certifies today theoretically would be able to be the company that registers today would theoretically be able to be certified. I'm just concerned that since we don't have a commitment to adequate staffing currently by the administration, since I know as part of our budget amendments, we tried to get you an additional staff person, which was vetoed by the county executive, and that's on top of the 3 or 4 that you're already short on what your budgeted amount is supposed to be. I'm concerned that when we have the disparity study, is the administration, if it is still the administration, going to make a commitment to the Office of Minority Affairs and to the legislature that it's going to provide the resources to be able to let you fully implement what the recommendations from the disparity study are? And I know that's not really a fair question to ask you because I'm sure you don't know the answer, but I would like that information from the administration, because looking at the 4-year budget projection for the Office of Minority Affairs, that budget projection is flat. There's no indication that there's going to be any additional staff. You know, and this was sort of my argument, you know, 3-4 months ago when we were going through the budget process for 2021. Something needs to be done. You know, we can talk all we want about trying to make progress and trying to be more inclusive and trying to support our MWBEs, but you know, the actions have to match the words, and that's my concern.
My only response to the 1,400 is the reason I say there's really no backlog is because of the fact most of them do not have their applications filed as of yet. So as they come in, then we're able to work with them with their certification.
But part of what your office would normally do with those 1,400 is that they would work, if you had the staffing, you would work with those 1,400 companies to help them put together the information that they need in order to complete their application and get them through the process, right? That's part of what your office, if it had the proper staffing, that's part of what your office would do, I'm assuming, right?
That would be part of what the office would do.
Right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's head by now.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. So I'm not sure which of the 3 of you, one of you could answer this question, but here's a question. So you explained a state process that could take up to 2 years.
Correct.
But that's not the process here in Nassau County, because they're actually going through a full certification. Here, quite honestly, it's more of a registration, okay? So if somebody gave you their completed paperwork tomorrow, how long does it take for that person to legitimately be registered?
If they gave us their completed all of their paperwork tomorrow, we can do it in 30 minutes through the app.
Okay. So, if you wouldn't mind, Reverend, question. Of the 1,400 that at this point haven't completed their applications, is it because we are not following up?
Not at all.
It's because they are in a stalled kind of status right now. For whatever reason, the company, the entity hasn't followed up, correct?
Right. Now, the thing about it is when they register, that's when they get a notation that they qualify. Once they self-identify that they're a minority or women-owned business, upon registration, that's when they get a notification that they qualify for certification. And then there's information that's given to them. At that point, it's up to them to follow those directives and give us the documentation. What our staff does is our certification analyst, she sends out a reminder, or I would say just a congratulations, now you qualify, the application processes, blah, 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 and that's done through the computer.
So right now, so that's how I understood the process, you know, to really be rolled out. So from what I'm understanding is that it's automated for the most part in terms of the notification, congratulations.
That's right.
You're at the next step.
That's right.
This is what we require to get beyond the next step and to complete the process.
That's right.
There's an automated reminder that goes out?
That's correct.
And how many automated reminders do they receive?
I would say on a daily basis, there's maybe between 20 to 40 automated reminders that go out.
Just to remind them? No.
Whether it's an application that needs to be filed, or whether it's taxes that need to be filed, or supporting documents of some kind.
Okay, so they'll get an automated response more than once, is what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
And until they actually complete the process, will there be automated responses that go out?
Yes.
Or reminders, rather, that goes out
Correct.
to say, push in
Correct.
your information.
Correct.
So that really doesn't take an additional person to even manage that. It's you've automated your process to the extent that it runs efficiently. It's the entity that has to really just get to the next step. And then it's not like, so at the state level, I don't know why they take so long, but I do know that they do a much more thorough.
They do a much more, it's much more intensified there,
Yeah.
of course, definitely.
Yeah, but 2 years seems long anyway. But in any event, their process is definitely more thorough than what we're doing. We're doing more of a registration.
So we do, if I can just, we do have a short form process where if someone is certified through New York State or New York City, MTA, that there's a short form process. So they don't go through as much with us. The thing about it is our staff has to actually review the documents still to make sure they're accurate. So that's where the time comes.
How many of those do you think we get?
What's that?
The ones that are doing the short
I
run
would say-
process because they're already established as a MWBE with some other municipal government or agency.
I would say at least 50%.
Okay, so it's a short process. I mean, you have to do some level of a review of the documents just
Of
to
course.
verify that they have been approved by some other entity.
Yes.
And then they're entered in the system, and you said like within 30 minutes it could be done?
Absolutely. We can do it. Absolutely.
All right, so do we feel like you need someone additional to support that effort?
Well, I'll say this, there's always room for growth.
Absolutely, but I mean, right now, are you not hitting those 1,400 because you don't have the staff?
No, we're not hitting the 1,400
what I
because
want
they
on the
don't have the documents in
It's
yet.
just because you don't have the documents.
Right.
And you don't have the documents, it's not because your staff is failing to follow up.
Absolutely.
It's because although they're getting automated reminders, they're just not responding.
Absolutely.
Okay. And our newest member of the OMA staff is the attorney, which this body supported the hiring of an attorney in that department, not even in this last budget, but the budget before that. So it's a long time coming, and we welcome you onto the staff here at OMA, and we hope that you can assist in making the process even more efficient and effective, and that we can, try and engage as many MWBEs as possible. And again, don't forget our service-disabled veterans.
Well,
So
thank you.
thank you for your presentation, and I look forward to moving this item forward so we can start doing the work.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you all for having us here today. Rhonda Mako, I am the Director of Special Projects for the Office of Minority Affairs, and I just want to say thank you for that, and I appreciate it. We look forward to working with you, and as Mr. Chitty said, I hit the ground running getting here, and we would like to continue with this disparity study as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Any other legislators? Legislator Rhodes? Okay. Anyone else? Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
All right, the last item is, last two items are legislative items. E12 with precise court reporting, E13 with top key court reporting. These are both contracts to provide stenographic services for the meetings and hearings of the Nassau County Legislature and its committees as required. The term is January 1st, 2021, with an initial term ending December 31st, 2022. The agreement may be renewed for 2 renewal periods, each for a period of 2 years, for a total of 6 years. And the maximum amount to be paid for the first 2 years is $170,000. So I don't know if anyone has any questions or wants to discuss this. We had to find court reporters who were able to sit for a meeting for hours on end without losing their mind. It turns out that Frank is the only person in the world that could do that. So, any debate or discussion? No. All right. Any public comment on the contracts? Okay. Hearing none, let me call all those contracts again. I mean, not again, but just to identify them, other than the 2 tabled contracts. This includes U1, B1, B3, B4, B5, B6, E1, E10, A50, E146, E3, E4, E6, E5, E7, E8, E11, E12, and E13. Any further debate or discussion on those items? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, they all pass unanimously, and we will go into recess for the other until the other committees are done.
All right, good afternoon. At this time, I'm going to call the Public Safety Committee to order, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Public Safety Committee roll call. Legislator Deborah Muley.
Here.
Legislator Sheila Bino. Ranking Member Delia DeRicci-Whitten. Legislator John Ferretti Jr. Legislator Vincent Muscarella.
Here.
Vice Chairman Stephen Rhodes. Chairwoman Denise Ford. We have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, there are 6 items on the agenda today, which are clerk item numbers 2-21, 3-21, 4-21, 5-21, and 6-21, and 23-21. Clerk item number 2-21 is the resolution to adopt the Nassau County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan as this jurisdiction's natural hazard mitigation plan. Okay. Meredith, I'm going to call that one on its own, okay? May I have a motion? Moved by Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator Bino. The item is here before us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Susan Park, Director of Recovery at the Office of Emergency Management. Item 2-21 is a resolution to adopt the 2021 Nassau County Hazard Mitigation Plan. The Stafford Act requires local governments to have an adopted and FEMA-approved hazard mitigation plan as a condition for receiving certain types of disaster assistance, including funding from the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, or HMGP, and building resilient infrastructure and communities, or BRIC. The plan received approval pending adoption status from FEMA on December 30th, 2020. The county now needs to adopt the plan by January 29th, 2021, so that it can receive $76.9 million in HMGP grant funding for the Bay Park Conveyance Project and for the Park Beach Streets Complete Streets and Drainage Project to be eligible for BRIC funding. The estimated total cost of the latter initiative is $20 million. Through a pre-disaster mitigation grant, the county hired Haggerty Consulting to help develop the hazard mitigation plan. With Haggerty's guidance, OEM worked with jurisdictions, local stakeholders, the public, the state, and FEMA to build a meaningful plan that identifies local hazards and proposes ways to increase the local resilience of communities through mitigation efforts. The plan details the cooperative and focused approach that the county and its jurisdictions took to develop the critical assessments and the mitigation strategies that resulted. Thank you.
Thank you. When you talk about the jurisdictions, is this that you also work with the towns and the cities as well and work with their disaster? Any of the people like DPW to identify places where that they can apply the funding to help against maybe future flooding or any other type of natural disasters?
Yes.
Okay. And then what is the reason why it has to be adopted by January 29th? And what is that date? What is so significant about that date?
Because that's when the deadline for BRIC funding is, and we have to be adopted, and we already FEMA approved, but adopted by then.
Okay. And can this be amended during the year, or is this something that will carry us through 2021?
It'll carry us through for the next 5 years.
Oh, for 5 years?
Yeah,
okay.
So the next iteration of this will be in 5 years.
And then we could get this, the complete, all of the projects and everything, we can get this online once it's adopted, or do we get it through like a book or something?
So the HMGP funds for the Bay Park Conveyance Project, it's already obligated to us, and we just need this plan so that we meet FEMA requirements.
Okay.
As for the Park Beach Street Complete Streets and Drainage Project, we are applying for that to the BRIC funding.
Okay. All right, thank you. And any other questions? Any from the public?
Yes, Denise?
Wait.
Denise?
I hear somebody.
Yes.
Oh, Deborah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hi.
Deborah Millay, Legislator Millay, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Of course, I'm in favor of this. It certainly makes sense that we do something like this, that pulls everything together and takes a look at everything ahead of time, so we're not dealing with something as it happens, to the best that we can. But I'm wondering if you could tell us what types of major hazards were talked about and how they're going to be mitigated. Obviously, you don't have to go through everything, but if you could do kind of an overview.
Yeah, so we took a look at the top hazards were coastal hazards, flooding, severe winter weather, and straight line winds. Each jurisdiction took what they had and assessed what would be best to move forward with in terms of strategy. I will tell you, for straight line winds, a lot of our jurisdictions decided on tree maintenance plans, so that there's like a tree trimming program throughout the year to assess the trees, old trees, and maintain them for this hazard.
So with I think I'm hearing you say straight line wind.
Yes.
Would that be a situation similar to Storm Isaias?
Yeah. Yes. So Isaias, yes, there was a lot of wind action, and after this event, we know better now and can figure what pieces we could mitigate.
Okay, and does this include the ability to, in the case of, for instance, downlines, the ability to reach people for emergency assistance?
If you're talking about a emergency action plan, that would be on the side of preparedness and not mitigation.
No, I'm talking about, say, in the case of a wind event like Isaias, and there's down lines and trees in the streets. Are there any contingencies in terms of ability to get to people for emergency assistance?
In the hazard mitigation plan?
Yes, yes.
So that would be, if indeed jurisdictions would like to move forward with their tree maintenance plant programs, preparedness could be part of that program. This plan focuses more on mitigative factors of things that we could do before the event.
Okay, I gotcha. I understand. And do you have, can you tell us about the feedback that we received from FEMA on our initial plan?
They provided approval pending adoption. FEMA was with us throughout the whole planning process the past year, and so they have been pretty positive throughout and providing us information as to where other counties may be lacking, so that we don't fall in the same.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Okay, Legislator Millay. Anyone else? All right, thank you. All in favor of passing item 2-21, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, item numbers 3-21, 4-21, and 5-21 are ordinances supplemental to an appropriation ordinance in connection with the police department. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, William Field, Deputy Inspector with the Police Department. First item is 3-21. That is a supplemental appropriation to appropriate $50,000 in funds received from the District Attorney's Office The expenditure of these funds will be set forth by Article 13A to enhance law enforcement efforts and investigation efforts. Are there any questions related to this one? Sure.
Just go through all of them, and if they have questions, they'll just pick it out.
Very, very good. 4-21, this is a supplemental appropriation to appropriate $1,500,000 in funds from the United States Department of Justice. The expenditure of these funds are set forth by the United States Department of Justice, and similar to the previous one, to enhance law enforcement efforts and investigations. Item 5-21 is also a supplemental appropriation to appropriate $1 million in funds received from the District Attorney's Office. The expenditure of these funds are set forth by Article 13A to, as I said before, to enhance law enforcement efforts and investigations. That's it. Any questions?
Going back to item number 4-21, when you, I guess it would be the equipment funds to replace the outdated inferior cellular telephone. Are these the phones, like, say, because I know that we have a program for, victims of domestic abuse, that we give them a phone or some sort of, maybe it would be like a cell phone that would be able to, like if they are in danger, they'd be able to immediately contact the police, or is that something different?
I believe that's something different. For tactical support equipment, this specific purchase is to assist the police department's ability to track a cell phone of somebody who is considered to be a high-risk missing person or potentially a kidnapping victim.
Oh, I see. All right, thank you very much. Any other questions? Any from the public? Okay, I see none. Okay. I know, I do look over, I'm sorry. Whoever wants to go first, go ahead, okay?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So basically, I'm just going back to the 421, that they're going to be tracking an individual in crisis. Hold on one second, I have this right. With the phones, which one was that? That's 421?
That's under 4-21.
Right, 421.
Tactical support equipment is the vendor.
So what exactly is this? This is a piece of equipment? So can you just explain the whole item again?
Yeah, this is to, I got to refresh my recollection. So the program actually, this is the system that's used to track the cell phone location, for example, of somebody who would be considered a high-risk missing person or potential kidnapping victim. And the current software that we have no longer can track certain types of frequency. It's not frequencies, but it can no longer track as well. And this specific software program will be able to do as the technology gets better, be able to more accurately locate somebody.
So does this take place if someone calls in to the police station, or it's just tracking their own devices?
This is only for like emergency situations where somebody, say, is kidnapped and we need to find their cell phone, or there's a situation where a high-risk missing person is a good example, right? Where somebody that maybe perhaps didn't return home and threatened suicide or something.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Legislator Bino?
I'm sorry, Chairwoman. I did not have a question. I was just making sure you saw the deal you had one. Thank you.
Just checking. Anyone on audio? All right. Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of passing clerk item numbers 3-21, 4-21, and 5-21, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The items pass unanimously. All right. Okay. Clerk item number 6-21 is an ordinance supplemental to an appropriation ordinance in connection with the probation department. May I have a motion? Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator Delia DeRigi Whitten. Okay, who is here from the administration to speak?
Hi, good afternoon, Chairwoman Ford, Vice Chairman Rhodes, Douglas Lansman, probation. The item before you, item 6-21, is our Nassau County Reentry Task Force grant. This is our annual one-year renewable grant from New York State DCJS. The purpose of the grant is to assist parolees in a smooth transition from incarceration. Sometimes it's many years, even a decade, they're incarcerated. And we are trying to reintegrate them back into our communities and society to lead productive lives and become good citizens, hence the name Reentry Task Force. The key services in this grant provide case management services that encompasses unification with family, housing referrals, health treatment referrals, social services applications process, clothing resources, and most importantly, guidance on new employment opportunities and job fairs. The amount of the grant is $201,272. It's a one-year grant.
Thank you very much, and I have to say that it's money well spent, because I happen to know somebody who benefited, when they came out of jail, to go through this and to be able to start their life all over again, and it meant a lot, having a safe place to live and whatever. So
It's really an excellent grant. It helps people get back on their feet, get back into society. Sometimes some of these people are away for many, many years, and it's so awkward to come back into society. This grant really helps them get housing, try and get a job again. It's really a wonderful grant.
Right, it's like gives them confidence and a little respect too, which I like, so thank you. Anyone else? Okay, no, I see none. All those in favor of passing item number 6-21, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year and stay healthy, everyone.
You too. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Clerk, item number 23-21 is an ordinance supplemental to an appropriation ordinance in connection with the district attorney. May I have a motion? Moved by Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator Bino. The item is before us. Who's here from the district attorney's office?
Good afternoon, Bob McManus. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. I've had problems in the past. This ordinance is supplemental appropriation for the Aid to Prosecution Grant Program. The district attorney has been fortunate enough to be the recipient of this grant for over 25 years. The Aid to Prosecution Program utilizes grant funds to support the prosecution of repeat, violent, and serious felony offenders by maintaining a staff of highly experienced prosecutors who work to achieve convictions and maximum sentences for such defendants. The goal of the project is to expedite the processing of repeat, serious, violent felony offenders.
Thank you. Any debate or discussion from any of the legislators? Okay, I hear none. Nothing from the public? All right, thank you very much, sir. All those in favor of passing clerk item number 23-21, please signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposition? No. The item passes unanimously. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
No other business. Have a Happy New Year and be safe and healthy. Okay, there's no other business in front of this committee. May I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Legislator Bino, seconded by Legislator Rhodes. All those in favor? Aye. The committee is now adjourned. Thank you. Planning will be called next.
At this time, I'll call the Planning, Development, and Environment Committee to order, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Planning Development and the Environment Committee roll call. Legislator Carrier Solage.
Here.
Legislator Sela Bino. Ranking Member Arnold Drucker. Thank you. Legislator Stephen Rhodes. Vice Chairman Thomas McKevitt. Chairwoman Laura Schaefer.
Here.
We have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you.
I apologize. Legislator Denise Ford. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have one item on the agenda. The item is clerk item number 22-21, and it's an ordinance supplemental to an appropriation ordinance in connection with parks, recreations, and museums. Can I have a motion? Moved by Legislator Rhodes, seconded by Legislator Drucker. Okay, this item's before us. Hi.
Hello. Tori Queso from the Department of Parks. This is a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $459,000. It is the funds anticipated to be collected from the Port Washington Water District easement, which was passed last month, I believe.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any debate or discussion on this item? Legislator Bino.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Hi, Tori, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. How are they planning to use the money?
It is, as per the New York State legislation, it has to be put in for capital improvements at Christopher Morley Park.
Okay. Are there any specific improvements that they're planning there at that park using the money?
I don't believe there's anything specific tied specifically to this money yet.
Okay. Okay. Is there a plan to come back to us and let us know what it specifically will be used for?
We can certainly do that, yes.
Yeah, I think we'd be interested to hear how they'd be using it. It's $500,000 almost. We'd like to see what kind of, okay, I see Brian is approaching.
Good afternoon, Brian Schneider, Deputy County Executive for Parks and Public Works. Legislator, the funding that was dedicated for Christopher Morley Park through this easement is going to be dedicated for capital improvements strictly at Morley. So it's not going to be able to be utilized at any other park facility, similar to the payment from Roslyn Water District for the stripping tower, also at Christopher Morley Park. So that would basically be augmented by the capital funds which were previously approved by the legislature for capital improvements at Morley. So it's basically going to go into a single pot of money for all capital improvements at Morley.
So from what I'm understanding is previous plans that had improvements for Christopher Morley Park will now have this fund offset those projects. Okay.
That's correct.
So they've already been approved through a capital plan and.
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Actually, I just have another question for you, Brian. So will there be additional funding in the future that comes from the easement? Like, is this on an ongoing basis?
This is a one-shot deal, strictly for the fair market value of the property that's going to be utilized through the easement.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? Mr. Budnick? Okay, come on up.
My name's John Budnick, 122 Von Hohenfeld Street, Massapequa Park. I'm inquiring as to whether this is with reference to the system that's being installed at Christopher Morley to stop the toxic waste plume that is under the park. And I would just inquire as to whether these funds are for that purpose or for some other purpose. And note that with regards to that particular purpose, the recycling of the water to get out the toxic waste, eventually there will probably need to be a New York State legislative approval of that under the New York State Parks Trust Doctrine. Thank you.
Hi, Brian. Can you answer that for him?
So if you recall, last year, well, it was 2021, yeah, so last year we came in front of this body after the state legislature passed an alienation for the approval of an advanced oxidation treatment system, which would remove the 1,4-dioxane, which is what Mr. Budnick is referring to. So yes, this project will be for, actually the funds for this project is for the easement. The project itself, which is going to be funded entirely by the Port Washington Water District, is for the installation of the advanced AOP system, which would remove the 1,4-dioxane.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. All those in favor of passing this item, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The item passes unanimously. There are no other items for this committee. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Moved by Legislator McKevitt, seconded by Legislator Drucker. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Committee is now adjourned. Public Works is next.
We have everybody available for Public Works?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this. I'm remote, so let's see how this works. I call the Public Works Committee to order. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Thank you, sir. Public Works and Parks Committee roll call. Legislator Carrier Solage.
Here.
Legislator
Here.
Arnold Drucker. Ranking Member Sheila Bino. Legislator James Kennedy.
Here.
Thank you. Legislator Laura Schaefer.
Here.
Vice Chairman C. William Gaylor III. Vice Chairman C. William Gaylor III. Chairman Vincent Muscarella.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Okay. We have 5 items on the agenda today. Clerk, item number 1-21 is a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute an amendment to an intermunicipal agreement with Nassau County Soil and Water Conservation District in relation to providing conservation services. Motion, please. Motion
So moved.
By Legislator Gaylor, seconded by Legislator Solage. The item is before us. We have, who's today? Daniel Fucci?
Yes, Dan's here. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you just give us a brief overview?
Sure. For the record, my name is Dan Fucci, and I'm an environmental specialist with the Nassau County Department of Public Works. This is an amendment to the intermunicipal agreement with the Nassau County Soil and Water Conservation District that will exercise 2-hour renewal options and furthermore extend the original term an additional 2 years, so that the new termination date as amended would be December 31st, 2022. Nassau County Soil and Water Conservation District is one of 58 county districts in New York State that provides on-the-ground assistance for soil and water resources, preservation of wildlife, and promote the health, safety, and welfare of residents in their respective communities. The district assistance that the district provides to Nassau County includes being a primary partner in assisting Nassau County to successfully implement the EPA-mandated Phase 2 stormwater program, including meeting its minimum control measures of public education and outreach, public involvement and participation, and construction site management. They also secure grants and provide additional technical assistance to Nassau County and its residents. In addition, we are asking very important work the county is on the verge now of implementing a new septic improvement program. The program will be named SEPTIC, which stands for Septic Environmental Program to improve environmental cleanliness. This program is expected to roll out during this quarter. The need for this new and innovative program is due to the fact that nitrogen pollution in conventional cesspools and septic systems have been identified as one of the largest causes of degraded water quality, which contributes to restrictions on shell fishing, increases toxic algae blooms, and massive fish kills as well. And thousands of homes are currently served by polluting cesspools and septic systems. Reversing degradation of water quality will depend on replacement of existing systems with new individual, innovative, alternative on-site wastewater treatment systems that will be designed to remove nitrogen. The county also received a $100,000 grant through LINAP that will go towards district services implementing the septic program. Additionally, the county has received a $1 million grant through the New York State EFC, the Environmental Facilities Corporation, which will provide the county, again, $1 million to install alternative systems. Through this first round of funding, we will be able to fund about 100 of these systems with real possibility of an additional round of funding from EFC upon successful implementation of this round one funding. This is a massive undertaking, and in order for this program to be successful, the department is recommending that this amendment be approved. Thank you.
Any questions from the legislators?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Okay.
I hope, Mr. Chairman, you were paying attention and you're able to repeat every word this gentleman said, because I didn't understand anything you said. That's beside the point.
It was a little quick, but I got most of it.
It sounded like he was underwater.
I apologize for the
backup says that the program is going to provide grant funding to eligible residents and small businesses to replace conventional or failing septic systems. Is that a new feature of the program, or was that always in place?
No, it's my understanding that this grant will be for residential homes.
Benny, can you repeat what he said?
It's my understanding that this will be for residential homeowners.
Not small businesses?
No.
Our backup says small businesses as well.
Yeah. Legislator, can I, Legislator Drucker? Hi, Brian Schneider, Deputy County Executive. So just to add on to, and I apologize also for Dan's underwater. Well, he is has a hydrogeology background, so it's understandable he'd be underwater. This program will not only focus on residential properties, but also commercial businesses that have generate less than 1,000 gallons per day of sewage. So it will be accessible to small business owners that fall within that category.
And will the process, Brian, be fairly easy to apply and get that taken care of?
Well, we are tailoring this program very similarly to Suffolk County. Suffolk County has already embarked on a septic replacement grant program. As you may or may not be aware, they have over 375,000 individual properties that are on-site septics that are either failing or older. Nassau County has about 40,000 in comparison, but we are learning a lot from Suffolk County's process to try to make it as simple a process as possible. So the application process will be an online system. We're currently working through our IT department and also in conjunction with our Consumer Affairs department. And today we're looking to bring Soil and Water Conservation District on board to administer and manage this program for the county. So we have been having these discussions over the past several months. And with the passage of this agreement today, they'll be fully on board and funded through the Long Island Regional Planning Council's $100,000 to assist in the overall management of the program.
So the additional funds also, we're going to go towards this reimbursement aspect of it too.
It will go for the management of the program because the funds that we're getting from EFC cannot be used for management, unfortunately.
Thank you, Brian.
Any other questions, Mr. Drucker? Any questions from the other legislators? Public comment? Yes, I hear you, John.
A large part of the John Budnick, 122 Von Hohenfeld Street, Massapequa Park. I am a former Nassau County Park Ranger. I happen to follow this stuff very much. We have an area, mostly the North Shore of Nassau County, which is unsewered. There are now programs to correct the sewage problems that are being dispensed into our aquifer. This is the primary one for Nassau County. The businesses in this area, the residences in this area, will be eligible for funds to convert to more efficient, less environmentally dangerous sewage treatment facilities on their own property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Budnick. Any other public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is reported unanimously. Next up is Clerk Item 8 of 2021, resolution to authorize the total maximum estimated cost of the Bay Park Outfall District Structure Pipeline Rehabilitation. That's Project 3B116. Motion, please. Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Ms. Bino. The item is before us.
Thank you, Legislator. Ken Arnold, Public Works. This item is a resolution to resolution to authorize and clarify that the county's total project costs for the Bay Park Conveyance Project is $513 million, of which $493 are bonded. The difference is $20 million that the state is laying out for property acquisitions. After we had supplied them with the last bond ordinance, they requested that this be approved to clarify all the prior bond ordinances and put on the record what total project cost would be for their EFC loan application process.
I just have a quick question. That $20 million in acquisition cost, does that include temporary easements, or is that all for purchase?
It includes temporary easements.
Okay. Is there a breakdown? Is it mostly temporary easements?
I believe, yes. The whole project is being done all by easement.
Thank you. Any other questions from the legislators? Any public comment? Yes, Mr. Budnick.
John J. Budnick, 122 Von Hohenfeld Street, Massapequa Park. I believe, but I'd just like the Commissioner of Department of Public Works to make sure he clarifies that this is not a funds to continue the Bay Park sewage outfall, but rather redirect the sewage into a force main over to the Cedar Creek plant and close the Bay Park sewage outfall pipe. To the best of my knowledge, I just like that clarified in my mind and the legislature's mind.
Thank you. That is correct, is it not, Mr. Commissioner?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? That item carries unanimously. There is an addendum that requires a motion to suspend the rules. May I have that motion from Ms. Schaefer, please? Seconded by Mr. Drucker. The rules are now suspended. I'm sorry, any debate or discussion, public comment, please indicate suspension of the rules by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The rules are suspended. Next up, clerk, item 19 of 2021, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 174 of 2018, adopting the capital budget for the County of Nassau for the first year of a 4-year capital plan to commence on January 1st of 2019, pursuant to the provisions of 310 of the County Law of Nassau County. Motion, please. By Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Solage. The item is before us. Do we have someone from the administration, please?
Yes, Ken Arnold, Public Works. Item 19-21 is a capital budget amendment for 2019. There was a capital budget amendment passed at the end of the year that had a drafting error. This amendment clarifies that drafting error, and it also adds 3 additional projects to be modified. The drafting area was associated with the staff summary in 301-20. It mentioned 19 of the existing capital projects that appear again in clerk item 19-21. I'm sorry, let me back up. Basically, there was 3 projects, county tasers, body cameras, and probation equipment that were not authorized properly. This corrects that error. In addition, the 3 additional projects added in this amendment are all associated with receiving additional outside funding, and we want to get that appropriation done so we can move forward utilizing these funds. One project is road maintenance equipment, and the second was snow removal truck replacements. As part of the Long Island Third Track project, the department spoke with the railroad about some of the assets that we were getting from that program, and we required additional equipment to maintain those assets properly. So we received $475,000 in road maintenance equipment and $488,000 in snow removal equipment. Additionally, we had previously received grant reimbursement of $1.2 million for drainage that was not appropriated in the capital plan. This amendment does that.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the legislators? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of moving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is reported. Next up, item 20 of 2021 is a bond ordinance providing for the capital expenditure finance the capital projects identified herein within the County of Nassau and authoring $6 million of bonds of the County of Nassau to finance that expenditure pursuant to local finance law of New York and the county government law of Nassau County. Motion, please. Motion by Mr. Gaylor, seconded by Ms. Bino. The item is before us.
Ken Arnold, Public Works. Also, as part of the amendment that just passed, we programmed our traffic capital project. It was not programmed with any additional appropriation, which that amendment now does. This is now the bond ordinance associated with that appropriation that will allow the department to act on its traffic needs that are upcoming. Currently, we have very little appropriation, and this is very important for the proper maintenance, proper rehabilitation and management of our traffic signal system.
Any questions of the legislators? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? That item is reported unanimously. Our last item is clerk item 21 of 2021, a bond ordinance providing for capital expenditure to finance the capital projects identified herein within the County of Nassau and authorizing $5,223,000 of bonds of the County of Nassau to finance that expenditure pursuant to the local finance law of New York and the county government law of Nassau County. Motion, please. I'll make that motion. Seconded by Mr. Kennedy. The item is before us.
Ken Arnold, Public Works. This item is a series of bond ordinances that total to $5.223 million for various public works and IT initiatives that need to keep going forward while the 2021 capital plan and those associated bond ordinances are discussed and negotiated. This will allow the Department of both Public Works and IT to continue its core-based work in keeping our buildings and grants and our facilities in a state of good repair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any questions? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item passes unanimously. There is no other business before this committee. A motion to adjourn. By, I guess, Legislator Drucker, seconded by Legislator Bino. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. We are adjourned. Stay positive and test negative. Thank you. Next up, I'm not really sure.
Finance is next.
Finance is next.
Don't go anywhere, Vinny.
I am not.
I got it. Finance Committee roll call. Legislator Joshua Lafazan.
Here.
Thank you, Legislator Arnold Drucker. Ranking Member Ellen Birnbaum.
Here.
Legislator Rosemarie Walker. Legislator Thomas McKevitt.
Here.
Vice Chairman Vincent Muscarella.
Here.
Chairman Howard Copel.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Because I am physically here and Mr. Copel is not, I'm going to try working at running the committee here personally today. So first thing we're going to do is do a motion to suspend the rules. Do I have a motion? So moved by Ms. Walker, seconded by Ms. Birnbaum. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. So what we're first going to do is start off with those items on consent, which have already been heard through the other committees so forth today. So we're going to call items 1-21, 3-21, 4-21, 5-21, 6-21, 22-21, and 23-21. Any discussion on these items? Actually, sorry, let me first have a motion, actually. So moved by Ms. Walker, second by Mr. Drucker. All right. Any discussion on these items? Any public comment? All in favor, please, by saying aye. All opposed? Items are passed. Moving next on to the addendum. We will first go towards the end of the addendum, which will be items 19-21. We have 19-21, 20-21, and 21-21. Again, these are all items we've just heard previously by other committees. Do I have a motion to consider these items? So move Ms. Walker, seconded by Mr. Drucker. He'll get me this time. So any discussion on these items? Any public comment? All in favor, please, by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We're next going to go on to a number of resolutions dealing with settlements with the County Attorney's Office. We have items 14-21, 15-21, 16-21, 17-21, 18-21, 19-21, 20-21, and 21- oh, sorry. Let me stop that. We stopped that at 18-21. We already did the other three. Start 9? Okay.
Good afternoon, legislators.
And actually, just one moment before we get there. Actually starting at 9-21, then 10-21, 11-21, 12-21, and 13-21. Again, those are all the settlements dealing with common issues with the county attorney's office. Again, do I have a motion on that, Ms. Birnbaum? Second by Ms. Walker. At this point, do I then have a motion to go into executive session on these items? Moved by Mr. Drucker, second by Ms. Walker. That's tabled. That had been previously tabled, and that is not on our agenda for today. All right, so again, these are all items dealing with the county attorney's office. Since we have, do we actually vote on this? Let's move on the executive session. All in favor by saying aye. All against. So that motion is passed. We will then go forth to our respective rooms, where we invite members of the Rules Committee to also join us so we can go and discuss this with the county attorney's office in executive session.
Alderman Long, do you hear me? Anyone?
I hear you, legislator.
I hear you, Howard. Okay, great. Thanks. Mr. hears you.
All right, if the legislators come back to the dais, we will conclude this part of the Finance Committee calendar. All right, we've concluded the executive session. We discussed with the County Attorney's Office items 9 through 18, all of 21. Is there any discussion? Any public comment? Mr. Budnick?
John Joseph Budnick, 122 Von Huenfeld Street, Massapequa Park. I'm inquiring with regard to each of those 10 items. How much, with regard to each of those 10 items, is there going to be a cost to Nassau County? And additionally, I'd like to have a very brief 2 to maybe 7 word indication of what the cause of the reason that the county is paying out whatever money is being paid out. Is it a traffic accident? Is it incorrect instruction? Is it dangerous workplace conditions? Just what? That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Budnick, not going too deeply in the executive session, these all dealt with asbestos-related cases at the Nassau Coliseum. And since there are 10 cases, I'll refer you to the information in the calendars of the amount for each of the settlements.
Thank you.
All in favor, please say by saying aye. All opposed? Item passes. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Drucker so moves. Ms. Walker seconds. All in favor, aye. All opposed? Then Finance is adjourned. Thank you. Next, we have rules reconvening.
All right, we're going to call the Rules Committee back into session. We have a number of items that have gone through committee, and it's been agreed upon that there's no further debate or discussion needed at this time on these items. So item 1, item 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 22, and 23. Those items are moved by Legislator DeReggie Whitten, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. Any debate or discussion on those items? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. Item 7, 2021, a resolution authorizing the county executive to execute an intermunicipal agreement with the Incorporated Village of South Floral Park in relation to the purchase of thermal imaging cameras, chain kits, storage lockers, and related items, moved by Minority Leader Abrahams, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. Any debate or discussion on these items? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries unanimously. Item 8 of 2020, a resolution to authorize the total maximum estimated cost of the Bay Park Outfall District Structure Pipeline Rehabilitation Project. Moved by Legislator Bino, seconded by Legislator Schaefer. Any debate or discussion? Legislator Rhodes?
I just had one question, Ken. Questioning came up before. I believe you were asked a question by Mr. Budnick regarding the project. And just I want to make sure on some of the terminology because I don't want incorrect information going into the record. With respect to this particular project, the diversion project, you'll be diverting treated effluent, not raw sewage, correct?
That is correct.
And that will be diverted to the Cedar Creek outfall pipe, not to the plant, correct?
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any further debate or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carry unanimously. Now we have the items on the addendum. Legislator Rhodes is going to be recusing himself, leaving the chambers, will not be participating in any debate or discussion on these items. All right. This is items 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. These are all resolutions authorizing the county attorney to compromise and settle claims of the various plaintiffs against the county of Nassau pursuant to the county law, the county government law of Nassau County, and the Nassau County Administrative Code. Moved by Legislator Schaefer, seconded by Deputy Presiding Officer Coppell. Any debate or discussion on these items? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, they carry unanimously. Let the rec. You can ask Legislator Rhodes back into the room, and we can have a motion to to adjourn rather. Legislator Schaefer makes that motion, seconded by Legislator DeReggie Whitten. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, we're adjourned.